Hello, I am Xarkun and this is World of Warships Legends. Today I've got a domination mode battle for you on the Trident map, and we are in the Tier 7 USN aircraft carrier Lexington. Now, I'm torn as to whether I really want to feature a bunch of aircraft carrier gameplay on this channel. I know it's a new class of ships, and it is probably a pretty popular class of ships among a good portion of the player base. People have been asking for aircraft carriers to be added into the game since the game was released, honestly. So there's a lot of hype for this class. A lot of people probably want to see it. Nevertheless, I think aircraft carrier gameplay is not the most interesting thing to watch in a video. However, this game is, at least in my opinion, pretty interesting. You're going to see the effectiveness of plane-dropped ordnance against all three classes of surface ships: destroyers, cruisers, and battleships. In fact, we're going to kill one destroyer, one cruiser, and one battleship in this game. And we're going to pretty much, not single-handedly, but heavily contribute to tying down an entire flank on this map. You notice we spawned opposite of the Alpha Cap, and there are some ships moving in here. Now, all of our planes do get shot down. I think that's because we ran into a fighter plane squadron. And so we make a mistake there by pushing in too aggressively with our squadron, coming up against concentrated AA defenses between, I think, a Prinz Eugen and a Bismarck, plus the fighter planes. We lose a lot of aircraft in the process. Not great. Something you probably want to avoid in your aircraft carriers is approaching ships immediately at the start of the match when they're all grouped up together. They've got overlapping bubbles of AA defenses, and if there's fighter planes in the mix, look out. Prinz Eugen has dropped some more fighters. We don't want any more of that action, so we're going to try to maintain our distance and only drop when it's safe. Got a friendly cruiser moving into Alpha. He's under fire from both the Bismarck and the Eugen. Things aren't looking good for him, but we noticed we were taking AA fire from a ship we couldn't see, and that is a destroyer. So if you're on the lookout for AA fire and you see it emanating from somewhere, you can pinpoint the location of destroyers and you can spot them, which is extremely dangerous. So we've got an Akatsuki in our sights. We're going to try to drop him with our dive bombers, but we don't quite give him enough lead, so we miss him entirely with that strike. But the Lexington has excellent dive bombers. If you can hit the bombs on ships, I am confident that you can potentially even dev strike a destroyer with these dive bombs. They drop 6 bombs. The Alpha Strike is pretty big. I think it's like 10k HE Alpha Strike. So you get all 6 of those to hit a destroyer. Pretty confident a dev strike can be the result. Although, it is kind of tricky to line up the drops on destroyers. So, there we actually do get a hit. We take away 3,000 of the Akatsuki's hit points, which is not an insignificant amount for a destroyer, particularly a Japanese torpedo boat destroyer. I think the Akatsuki has around 11 or 12,000 hit points. So, you know, that is, what, like a quarter of his HP, maybe? Quite a bit. Going in with the torpedo bombers now. Lexington's torpedo bombers, not the best for hitting destroyers, at least. The torpedoes are extremely slow. I think with the Shokaku, which has much faster torpedoes, it is quite a bit easier to land them on destroyers. Not the same story with the Lexington. I think these torpedo bombers are best used against slow-moving targets like battleships. And here you're going to see that we actually do get the torpedo lead correct, but I think we dropped them a little bit too close. Actually, we don't get the torpedo lead correct. All of the torpedoes are too slow to actually hit that Akatsuki. He's very close to us now. He's spotting our carrier, and he is well within torpedo range. So he's definitely going to be launching torpedoes at us. He wants to take us out. I've noticed that people really want to kill the aircraft carrier since it's a, new class of ship, new novelty thing. So they tend to come after it pretty aggressively. And that's what this Akatsuki is doing. He's got support in the form of that Bismarck and Prince Eugen, who are also moving toward us. And since the Akatsuki is spotting us, there's an opportunity for the Eugen and the Bismarck to actually shoot at us, which would not be great for us. Now we've hit the Akatsuki 3 times with 3 bombs, done 9,000 damage to him. That's almost all of his hit points. You can see he's got maybe about a quarter health left. He's going to park right in front of us and start smoking up, but he's stationary while he does it, which makes it much, much easier for us to do this drop. And even though he's gone, we know exactly where he was, and we're able to take him out with 4 bomb hits. So, as you can see, 4 hits with the HE bombs on the Lexington's dive bombers, and 13,100 hit points of the Akatsuki all gone. We've taken away 100% of his hit points, and you can see this lends credence to my theory that if you can land a really, really good, accurate drop on destroyers with the Lexington's dive bombers, you could probably dev strike one. Of course, destroyers are very maneuverable. They can more effectively dodge your ordnance than the other classes of ships, and there's always RNG to contend with in terms of bomb accuracy. So you're probably not going to be consistently dev striking destroyers. Maybe you are. I don't know. Maybe somebody who's really good in aircraft carriers, has more experience than I have, can make it happen relatively consistently, but I cannot. Now we can see the torpedoes in action against a Bismarck. We thought he was going to pull forward, so we launched the torpedoes a little forward of him. We end up hitting him for 12 or 13k damage there with all 3 torpedoes and causing a flooding, which he promptly stops. So, you know, that means we do want to follow that up. And right now, we are the only friendly ship in this section of the map. The Eugen and the Bismarck undoubtedly have an idea about where we might be at, and we can see that torpedo bombers have been spotted in the area, enemy torpedo bombers. In fact, the enemy carrier has dropped fighters in order to protect his teammates. So that's a risk for us. We want to do this drop immediately before these fighters lock on and shoot down our entire squadron. And we are successfully able to land all 6 bombs on the Bismarck, giving us quite a bit of damage and starting a fire, which we know the Bismarck can't extinguish immediately since he just used his damage control on the flooding we caused by our torpedoes. Now, as you can see, both the Bismarck and the Eugen are sailing toward us. They've got nothing else left to shoot at us, but the Eugen has taken damage from, I think, the friendly destroyer that he just recently killed. So he's on pretty low health. The Bismarck actually is able to extinguish the fire much more quickly than I thought. The damage has stopped ticking up. Nevertheless, we want to drop on the Eugen now. We know he's not at full HP, and he's also taking shots from one of the friendly battleships across the map due to our spotting of him. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to see him. So, low health, 3 bombs hit, we take out the Eugen. That's our 2nd kill of the match, and that just leaves the Bismarck on this flank. Now, I think this gives you a small indication of the power of aircraft carriers and what can happen if a number of ships attempt to focus one who is at least mildly okay. I'm not going to say I'm a good aircraft carrier player, I just don't have enough experience, but I'm kind of getting the hang of it, and, you know, I am able to be at least somewhat effective. I've taken down a destroyer, taken away 100% of that destroyer's hit points, actually, and I think as I get better with these, I'll be able to do that much faster than I was able to do to the Akatsuki. Gotten a kill on a cruiser, and done a significant amount of damage to this Bismarck. We're about to do more, in fact. It looks like we're going to land all 3 torpedoes again. We do, and we cause some more flooding, taking our damage total up to 67,000. Bismarck is drawing very close to us, though. Soon he's going to be within our detectability range, and because our planes, at least I think our dive bombers, have a detectability range of 10 kilometers, since the Bismarck is within that 10 kilometers, he can't see our carrier itself yet, but he can see the dive bombers as soon as they go up into the air. So he's got a good idea of where we're at. Nevertheless, he's on very low health thanks to the damage we've inflicted on him, and we have no problem finishing him off for our 3rd kill of the game. And just like that, we have pretty much cleaned up this entire flank. Not single-handedly, of course. Our spotting on these ships did allow our teammates to shoot at them and remove more of their hit points. And basically, we just came in and acted as the cleanup crew, securing the kills on both the Bismarck and the Eugen, although we did take away 100% of the Akatsuki's hit points. And you would think doing that would, grant us a little bit more XP at the end of the match. I think we contributed fairly well to this game, and we are going to be rewarded with some decent XP for carrier. But, Wargaming did announce in their stream on Friday that they are providing a patch on Monday. What is that? April 18th, I think. Monday, April 18th. A patch that increases the experience and credit payout of aircraft carriers, which is something I identified as a bit of a big issue in my first impressions video on aircraft carriers from a few days ago. I thought that the XP and credit payout was not as high as I thought it should have been. And because that XP payout is not high, and because aircraft carriers cost more XP to research than surface ships, the grind through carrier lines would probably be a bit of a slog for a lot of players who found that, maybe they're not quite good in carriers yet, and they're not getting as much XP as they might hope to get when and if they do have good games in carriers. By the way, there's 4 kills in this match. We could get a crack in here if we can land a hit on this destroyer. But we're spotting the destroyer, our teammates are shooting at him, and all we have to do is keep him spotted for the Azuma to take him down. That just leaves the enemy aircraft carrier left, so this game is pretty much a guaranteed win. We've done 75,000 damage, gotten 4 kills out of it. A couple of those were kill secures, let's say. So, in reality, that's probably not going to translate into a ton of XP for us. But you would think we would get a little bit more reward for, spotting the ships that we spotted and having the damage inflicted to them by our teammates. You'd think that we should probably get some more XP for that. And also, I would like to see spotting ribbons added into the game so that I know exactly for 100% certain when I, in my aircraft carrier, or any other ship for that matter, am responsible for spotting an enemy. I think spotting ribbons should have been in this game since the start, and I hope that Wargaming is looking into adding them in the very near future. Because like I said, they give you certainty, 100% certainty, that you are responsible for spotting a particular enemy ship, and I do believe you get experience for the damage that your teammates inflict on any enemy you spot, as long as you are the one responsible for spotting them. Like, if they weren't going to be spotted without you, then you probably wouldn't get XP or spotting damage or whatever, but if you're the one responsible for spotting them, and they're getting shot at, then I do think you get spotting damage credit for that and XP. I just think maybe the payout should be a little bit more higher, or a little bit higher in aircraft carriers. Anyway, there's a pretty good showing in the Lexington, I thought. We're second on the leaderboard, so not a bad result. Hope you enjoyed it. If so, give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.